So here's the review that I promised of these two knives, to give not really a stats or how long the blade is, etc. You can read all that on the websites, and there's a ton of other reviews for these two knives, but more of an overview, a quick overview of actually how I decided to use these knives. I started carrying this knife over a year ago as my outdoor knife. I have this in my pocket pretty much all the time, even just for general daily EDC. I carry this knife, and it's been a really good knife. There are some things that I don't like about it for hunting situations or outdoor situations, and I'll cover that in a few minutes, as well as some things I really do like. And then I got this knife recently, and I've been carrying it a little bit EDC as my everyday EDC from time to time, but mostly in the woods. I have been carrying this knife. So I was going to give kind of how did I come to a decision on which one of these two knives I carry most of the time. So I'll start with the Benchmade Bugout. This one is in M390 steel, and it has the aluminum handle scales. This is really a solid knife. I mean, you wouldn't pry with it or anything, but it's a knife. It's not meant to be prying with. It's really easy to carry in the pocket. It's incredibly thin. It's almost like you don't even know it's there. It's got a great deep carry pocket clip, easy one-hand opening from either side, so it's ambidextrous, easy closing, right? So the things that I really like about this knife are that it carries really deep in the pocket. It's incredibly light, and it's easy to operate with one hand. It also, I've used it to cut some game, like for instance the back of the deer's leg, to put the tag in. And what I've noticed about this knife is that it gets a lot of stuff stuck inside of the knife, hair, blood, pieces of any kind of animal that I might be trying to break down with this, right? So I wouldn't actually recommend it as that for that kind of a knife. It gets all kinds of stuff stuck in here, and it's really hard to get out. In fact, I have to take it apart to clean it up well enough. So that's something that I wouldn't do with this knife. The other reason that I actually wouldn't use it for my outdoor knife when it comes to game is that there's really no jimping here. There's a little bit right here, but this knife is really slippery when it gets wet. The scales don't provide a whole lot of traction, and they look great, but they don't provide a whole lot of traction. And the jimping on the top of the knife is almost non-existent. So this gets actually really, really slippery when it gets wet or muddy or really dirty, right? This gets slippery. So this knife is turned into my everyday carry when I'm not in the woods. I carry this knife. It's good for just everyday tasks that you might run into that you need a knife for, and it carries so well that it excels at that. So that's kind of where this knife is landed for me, is just a general EDC around town, wherever I go that I want to carry a knife. And I pretty much always have a knife in my pocket. So that's where this one has ended up. This knife, it doesn't carry super deep. I'm gonna probably get a deep carry clip for this, but it doesn't carry super deep. But one of the reasons that I haven't gotten that clip yet is that actually when I have gloves on, this piece sticking up makes it easier to pull out of my pants, so out of my pocket. So I'm almost to the point that I actually kind of like the fact that there's this little bit of extra sticking up, and seeing how that I'm carrying this knife in the field most often, nobody's looking that I have a knife sticking out of my pocket, right? So the other thing is these G10 scales, these are just way better or way grippier than these aluminum scales. When this gets wet, it's still, I still find that it has enough traction. The other thing that I like about this knife is the jimping. So not only does it have jimping, I mean, it has this here, but this is horrible. Actually, it's the same as the Bugout. But on the Para3, it also has jimping on this ramp and on the, I guess they call this a finger choil. So, and this is really good jimping. See, my finger's not even moving. If I have gloves on, it digs in even better, for that matter. So I can get a really good grip on this knife, and I don't feel like I'm going to end up slipping and running my hand over top of the blade. The other thing that I like about this knife for outdoor use is that it doesn't, there's no finger studs there, right? So whereas this knife has finger studs, stuff can get stuck in there, right? It's just another place to be in the way. That doesn't exist on this knife. So this knife cuts, in my opinion. It cuts better because there's not a whole lot of extra. There's nothing here in the way. This is a flat ground blade. It just feels like it cuts better to me. Also, this still seems, and I'm not a steel person, so I don't know if it really does or doesn't, but it feels or seems like it holds an edge longer than, this is the S110V. It seems like it holds an edge longer than M390 does. Although, this is pretty sharp. This seems to be easier to resharpen. to be honest, I can strop this up real quick and it comes right back to life. So maybe there's a trade-off there. But as far as edge retention, this seems like it holds a better edge to me. So this is turned into my, and also I know it looks like there should be a bunch of stuff getting stuck in here, but this cleans out easier. I don't know if it's the way this compression lock is set up versus the axis lock, but I can almost rinse this out just under a bottle of water, and for the most part everything comes out of it, right? So other options, both these knives are a few $100, right? Other options that I've used a little bit recently, I actually got this the Havalon Piranha, and this is way cheaper. It's lighter, I think, than both of these two knives. It's also incredibly sharp, and I don't have to carry a sharpener if I carry this knife at all. I don't have to have a sharpener in my bag. I put a couple of extra blades in there, and these push right off. So you just push that up and pull it off. I can do that in the field, put another blade on, and take this blade and put it in the, I take the old blade and I put it in the little sleeve that the new blade came out of, so that, you know, I don't just litter and leave a blade laying around somewhere that something's going to get cut on. But but even with 2 or 3 blades and this, it's lighter than either one of these two knives. I'm not really worried about losing it. Heaven forbid this falls out of my pocket. It's $40, right? I think. I don't remember what I actually paid for this. I will say the one thing about this knife that's interesting is the way that the blade locks in. You're guaranteed to get junk stuck in here. So I end up having to pick skin, whatever I happen to cut, a sausage, whatever I cut with this knife, it ends up stuck in this. So when I take these blades off, when I'm done hunting, I'm done with whatever I'm doing outdoors, I can take this blade off real quick, and I pretty much scrape the stuff out of here. Other than that, everything goes right through it. None of these are to be used as screwdrivers or pry bars. They're pocket knives, but this is incredibly flimsy, and I've heard people say that they have broken these blades. I haven't broken them, but I imagine if you break this blade and you're inside an animal, better be careful that you don't run your finger over it and cut yourself. But I've been carrying this too for actual animal work, and I actually like this. I actually like this better than either one of the two of these for skinning or dressing out game. Right? This is a really good knife. And then so last, just something that I've been carrying in my pocket, in my wallet, like as an extra utility blade, is this Gerber thing that I found at Home Depot, actually. And this is like $6. And then I bought a whole bunch of razor blades for it. You can see it's got crud all over it. If there's something incredibly disgusting that needs to be cut, and someone wants to borrow a knife, and I'm talking to my dad here, Dad, if he wants to borrow a knife, I hand him this, so that if he breaks it, loses it, I don't care. Versus, you know, handing somebody a $300 pocket knife and they cut a staple with it, and I end up spending another day just trying to get the chip that they left in the blade out. And that's a true story, actually. So it's always nice to have this in my pocket, and I always do have this in my pocket. I put this in my wallet. Folds up pretty nice. And somebody needs to borrow a knife, or if something's really disgusting, I use this, right? And then if anything happens to it, who cares? So I found this at Home Depot. So that's the end of my review, really. This ended up being, the Bugout ended up being my daily EDC when I'm not in the field, and the Para3 ended up being my in the field EDC, for the reasons that I mentioned. So if you are interested in this kind of content, just basic opinions of someone that uses the equipment on a regular basis, or you know, and buys everything with their own money. So this is my straight opinion. I like Benchmade knives a lot. I actually like Benchmade knives better than I like Spyderco, but in this case, for the purpose, the Spyderco actually wins out. So I'm not beholden to any manufacturers, because I buy all this with my own money, and I use the product, like I said, a lot. The products that I'm reviewing a lot, and it's just my opinion. So your mileage may vary. If you like this kind of video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for future upcoming videos. I still have to upload one that I'm working on about my turkey shotgun, so for the last 2 years. So that should be coming soon. Again, if you like this kind of content, plus I'm going to mix in some outdoor hunting content here hopefully soon. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.